You're here because you're learning Spanish and perhaps it's been a little bit difficult for you to get fluent. And you're wondering how in the world you're going to eventually be able to think in Spanish. Well, today I'm going to show you how you can do that quicker than you ever thought. 7 consejos para empezar a pensar en español. Hello there, nice to see you. I'm Audrey. Welcome back to Spanish 55. We are going to go over a few tips for you to get to that level. Essentially, when you're not translating from your native tongue to the language that you're trying to speak, you're actually thinking in that new language. So from here, we're going to continue to do that not only through context, but through other means. Let's keep going. I'm going to give you 7 practical tips for you to be able to start thinking in Spanish. Tip number 1. Comprehensible input. What in the world is that? If you haven't heard of this, essentially it means that learners acquire a language most efficiently when they're being exposed to input, such as listening or reading, in their target language, but slightly above their current level of proficiency. So we always hear that we have to immerse ourselves in the language that we're trying to learn, but you have to be smart about it. You want to be listening or reading things that you're going to be able to understand at least 70 to 80% of the time. This way, it's easy for your brain to put all the puzzle pieces together and save the new information. Okay, so for this first tip, here are your takeaways. First, you want the material to be understandable but challenging. Then you want to focus on meaning over grammar. So you want to understand, not focus on grammatical rules. And lastly, you want your material to be engaging. So you want it something that you actually want to listen to or that you actually want to understand and doesn't bore you. Tip número 2. You want to think in simple phrases first. Do you remember when you were a kid and you would play with your toys and you would just make up dialogues between the characters that you were using? This is what you're going to be doing, but in your head. When you were a 3-year-old, you didn't have enough vocabulary, even in your native tongue, to be able to make complex sentences. So when you were playing with your toys, you would say, I'm going to go buy things, instead of saying, I'm going to go do groceries or I'm going to go buy vegetables and fruits. So this is what you want to do. You want to use the vocabulary that you know to think in the language. And just don't get frustrated that you can't be as detailed as you are in your native tongue, because remember, we are not trying to translate, we are trying to use what we already know. And then maybe in a phrase you do need a word, then I will forgive you. You can look up one word. But don't be looking up whole sentences in the dictionary. I mean Google Translate, not the dictionary. I was 7 years old when I was learning, and I was able to actually get out of ESL class within a year. So I know that you're going to be able to do this by practicing these things that I'm going to tell you. So within your simple phrase that you're trying to make, that one word that you need to look it up, and you can hear it in Google Translate, because right now, actually, it's pretty accurate, the pronunciation. And also look at a picture of that word and repeat it while looking at the picture. And that's going to ingrain it in your brain. And this leads me to the next tip. Tip number 3. Invest in a monolingual Spanish dictionary. So instead of having the dictionary translate the word or read out the definition of a word in English, it's going to tell you the definition of a Spanish word using Spanish. For example, if you look up árbol, it might say planta grande con tronco de madera con al menos 10 centímetros de diámetro. Consejo número 4. Learn useful filler words and expressions. Native speakers use filler words like pues, entonces, or bueno. Incorporating these into your thoughts when you're pausing to think, even if you're not speaking out loud, will make your inner dialogue sound more natural. Tip número 5. High five. Label your surroundings. Transform your environment into a Spanish learning space. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of SpongeBob. Imaginación. Use sticky notes to label everyday items in your home, like la puerta, la mesa, la silla. Seeing these labels daily will help you naturally associate these objects with their Spanish names, which will build your mental vocabulary. Consejo número 6. Be patient and consistent. As you know, you can't learn a language overnight. Some things just take time. Some days thinking in Spanish might feel more natural than other days, and this is okay. So long as you're making it a daily practice and you're investing at least 5 minutes a day thinking in Spanish, you're gonna get there. When you feel yourself getting frustrated, take a step back and be kind to yourself. Celebrate your small wins, even if it's just not having to translate a word or creating your first complete sentence by yourself. In your consistency practice, you can also include a Spanish tutor so that you can have someone right there correcting you on the spot. This way, you're definitely not practicing incorrect thoughts and you're going to speed up your learning an absurd amount. I would definitely recommend this if you're not somewhere that speaks Spanish. So if you're still in your home country where there's no Spanish spoken, this is definitely key for your learning journey. If you're kind of contemplating the idea, you can go on to Spanish55.com and you can book yourself a free consultation and figure out if it's actually something you want to do. Consejo número 7. Este es mi favorito. Start speaking to yourself in Spanish from day one. If you haven't started talking to yourself like you're a crazy person, you need to start now. So not only do you want to be thinking in your head, but you also want to be speaking out loud. Why? Because the more muscles or the more body parts that you're using to learn the language, the more it's going to integrate and the faster you're going to get to fluency. I say this is my favorite because it's like permission for me to just be wild and weird. When I'm at home and I'm practicing French, for example, my family will come in and just like look at me strange and then I'll just start speaking to them in French and then they'll just laugh at me and like, yeah, we know she's crazy, it's fine. Kind of like this. Je mangeais une baguette, quelle délicieuse baguette. Let your inner theater child out. And if you didn't know you had one, discover it because this is so gonna help you. You're just gonna have fun with the language. That is just the main absolute thing that you need to remember is just to have fun, keep it light, and then you're not gonna stop. Y cuando no paras, significa que eventualmente vas a llegar a donde quieres estar. The main thing that you have to remember is you need a lot of input because this way, when you're making yourself think in Spanish, your brain is gonna have a lot of information to grab from. And yes, I said make yourself think in Spanish because in the beginning, you're gonna have to force yourself to do it. So when you're out there conscious that you're thinking in your native language, you can say, wait, how can I be saying this in Spanish? So it's a conscious choice that you have to force yourself into in the beginning. And then it'll become a little bit more natural with that consistency that I spoke about. So if anything that you take away from this video, you want to take away those points. I'm really happy for you and excited for your journey, and I can't wait to hear more about it. If you want to comment anything below, I would love to hear your comments. And if you want me to touch on any other topics in particular, please also let me know. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta pronto. Anything that you don't know the vocabulary to every day? What? Yeah, you get it.